Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1. We'll present about PERAK Corporation Berhad, PN17 company. So, before that, my name is ISMAEL ROSBI. I will present about company PERAK Corporation company background, corporate governance and financial performance history. Okay, firstly, company background. Company background for PERAK Corporation Berhad is PERAK Corporation Sdn Berhad or PCB Berhad is incorporated in 1991 and it based in Teluk Intan. So basically, this company involved in four major industry. First one is port and logistic. Port and logistic is the main subsidiaries for and property development is main subsidiary for this company. So the port logistic industry, PCB Berhad provide integrated port service, which is inclusive of tujage, cargo handling, storage, and ancillary service. And PCB also is operator and manager of Lekeh Bulk Terminal, which is a dedicated terminal to handle coal for Janakuasa Sultan Azlan Shah in Seri Manjung, Perak. So second industry that PCB involved is property development, which is sales of land, get profit from property development joint arrangement and other services. And third, third industry is PCB involved in hotel and tourism, which is PCB own and operate several properties. For example, Casuarina Hotel at Meru in Ipoh, Casuarina Kuala Kangsar, and Casuarina Pangkor in Pulau Pangkor. And lastly, industry that PCB involved is in retail industry, which is one of subsidiary of PCB is Anakko Holdings that sell premium maternity wear, baby wear, children wear, baby accessories, and diapers. Okay, next. Okay, next. I will explain about corporate governance of PCB Berhad. So, as we know that corporate governance is a system that how the company is directed or controlled. So, the most important part in corporate governance is board of director. So basically, board of director is responsible to direct how the company works. So the PCB Berhad has adopted and complied with principle and recommendation that Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance 2017 have recommend, which is this is based on financial report 2021, latest financial report. So PERAK Corp has established two main corporate governance, which is first is risk management committee, audit committee, nomination and remuneration committee, which is this all of these four committees is for is responsible to report to the board with the recommendation for the board decision, which is this committee is responsible to examine all matter within its scope of responsibility. And secondly, PCB also established integrity and governance unit, which is key function. Its key function is to monitor and address issue of ethics, corruption, fraud, and malpractice. Okay, next. Okay, for financial performance story, this is general financial performance story for PCB Berhad. So this is based on financial report 2021. So for 2031, revenue for PCB Berhad had increased by 245.2 million and profit before tax of 13.9 million, which is higher compared to the financial year 2020, which is 2020 PCB Berhad have net loss before tax of 92.1 million. This is because of COVID-19 2020, and the total loans and borrowing position have reduced from 548.3 million in 2020 to 183.2 million in 2021. So this higher revenue of and profit before tax for PCB Berhad is increased because first, the main reason is this disposal of 4 pieces of vacant commercial land and 1 piece of vacant residential land at Mukim Hulu Kinta, daerah Kinta at Perak, which is amounted 78.7 million. And second main reason is the recognition of PCB development at Animation Theme Park, that which is these two property development project have carry the very high cost. So the recognition contribute to more higher profit for 2021. Okay, that's all from me. Next.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad FAKRUL HAJIMAN. I'm matric number 11900710. So now we will analyze the reason why the company is classified as PN17 company, and why what a reason the failure, what a reason to result the failure. Okay, first we need to know what is PN17. So PN17 stands for Practicals Note 17 2015, and it is a practice note that issued by Bursa Malaysia in relation to list issues that are in financial distress. So financial distress is condition which company or individual cannot generate sufficient revenue or income, making it unable to meet or pay its financial obligation. So, a company that trigger one or more of PN17 criteria must comply with the provision of PN17 and revive the company to keep their listing status. It must go through a few exercise to comply with requirement. So, if the company is meet the criteria, they need to do the exercise that Bursa issue. So next, the company not longer considered as PN17 company if they complete the implementation of approved regularization plan and submit an application and necessary document to Bursa to prove that it is no longer a PN17 company. So if they want to go out from PN17 company, they need to revive their company. So as of June 2022, there are 25 companies falling under PN17, including prominent companies such as Asia, Berhad, and Serba Dynamic Holding Berhad. So this source from paragraph 2.1 of practice note 17 of the main market listing requirement, MMLR. So next. So why PERAK Corporation Berhad classified as PN17 company? So there are many listed companies in Bursa Malaysia are classified as PN17, and one of it is PERAK Corporation Berhad, PCB. So the reason is default in payment on 17 October 2019. Animation Theme Park Sedang Berhad, a 51% owned subsidiary of PERAK Corporation Berhad Development, PCBD, which is a wholly-owned unit of PERAK Corporation Berhad, failed to repay principal for a syndicate term loan facility up to RM 280 million involving Afin Fang Investment Bank, Afin Bank, Bank Pembangunan Malaysia Berhad, and Malaysian Debt Ventures Berhad. So, on 18 December 2019, Afin Investment demand payment of 244,015 ringgit plus interest to the date of full payment pursuant to the corporate guarantee date 10 July 2014 executed by PCBD in favor of Afin Investment within the 14 days of the date of the said letter, following which Afin Investment will be forced to commence legal action against PCBD on December 18, 2019, AFIN Investment request payment from PCBD in amount of RM 244,015 ringgit. So PERAK Corporation disclosed on February, February 11 February 2020 that it had fallen behind on principal payment for the Tawaruk revolving credit I and Musyarakah Mutanakish term financing I, both of which were provided by Afin Islamic Bank Berat total 100 million. So as a result of the payment default, the PERAK Corporation Berhad has made the requirement of paragraph 2.1F on PN17 of the listing requirement and is unable to declare that it is solvent. Solvent is the ability to repay the debt. So, given the group's current cash flow position, PCBD in relation to total debt, obligation payable, and available cash flow, PERAK Corporation Berhad cannot claim the solvent. So, PERAK Corporation Berhad fell into the PN17 category in February 2020 as a result of payment default and inability to declare solvency. That's all.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Alif Asyraf bin Ahmad NAZRI. I will discuss about the financial performance of Perak Corporation Berhad from 2018 until 2021. So PCB is a public listed Malaysian company which together with its subsidiaries focuses on three core businesses which are port and logistics, property development as well as hospitality and tourism. So during 2018, the company recorded revenue of 196.6 million. So this is an increase of 6% as compared to previous financial year revenue of 185.8 million. And then port and logistics segment is the group's main contributor of total revenue during financial year 2018 among three core businesses. So we can see that port and logistics segment has recorded 127.7 million, which contributed a lot among the three core businesses, which is 65% of the total revenue compared to the previous year, 57%. And then for property development segments, 25.6 million contributed 30%, 13% of total revenue. And then hospitality and tourism segment, 41.4 million contributed 21% of total revenue. So we can see that is a increasement for the total revenue. And then the good thing is a significant drop of pre-tax loss of 147.2 million. This is due to lower provision for impairment made by the company in the property development and hospitality and tourism. Uh, uh, Compared to 2017, which is 320.1 million. And then the loss per share recorded attributable to owners of the company, which is to the shareholders, achieved was a loss of 104.88 cents. And then also the net asset per share decreased to 1.26 ringgit compared to previous year, which is 2.99 ringgit. Okay, next. Uh, For 2019, the group's total revenue of 149.7 million. So there is a decrease by 9% as compared to previous year, which is 164.2 million. And it remained the same. Port and logistics segments become the main contributor of the total revenue during the financial year, which is contributed 81%. And then property development contribute as 8%, and hospital tourism contributed as much as 11% of the total revenue. So we can see both the total of the those three core business has having a decrease of total revenue during that year. And then during 2019, as animation theme park Sdn Bhd was shut down, any related information to the subsidiaries will be disclosed in discontinued operations. So for pre-tax loss, it divides into two, which is continuing operation and discontinued operations. For continuing operations, the pre-tax loss increased to 20.9 million, which is much worse. And then the good performance for discontinued operation, which is where the pre-tax decreased to 14 million compared to 2018, which is 24.4 millions. And then the earning per share attributable to owners of the company for 2019 achieved for continued operation is a loss because it is negative 30.84 cents, and then discontinued operation negative 52.19 cents. So we can see there is increasement, a little improvement, but still the owners having a loss over their shares. And then the group has negative total equity per share as at 31 December 2019 of 0.09 ringgit compared to 2019 18 1.12 ringgit. And we go to uh, the issues of the default impairments. So during 2019, on 26 September, Animation Theme Park Sdn Bhd and indirect 51% on subsidiaries. So this is a major subsidiaries of Perak Corporation Berhad has default in its repayment of principal in respect of the syndicated term loan facility of up to 280 million granted by the lenders involved with Afing Huang Investment Bank Berhad, Afin Investment, Afin Bank Berhad, Bank Pembangunan Malaysia Berhad, and Malaysia Debt Ventures Berhad. This ATP is unable to meet its obligation to repay the lenders in a timely manner due to cash flow constraints. So this is the starting point where the issue of the default impairment has become a problem in the PCB company. And then for the overview for 2019, none of the core businesses record revenue growth in the year 2019. And next year, 2020, in the 12th month to 31 December 2020, the group's revenue covering both continuing and discontinued operation declined by 20%, which is 131.6 million from the 163.7 million reported in 2019. This is because of a substantial fall in revenue contribution from across all the cost business. You can see the three segment, PL segment, PD segment, and HT segment having a decreasement of the total revenue. But still, port and logistic become the main contributors of the total revenue, which is 89%, and the others is 2% and 80% respectively. And then the group's pre-tax loss of 92.1 million covering both continuing and discontinued operation for the financial year is lower, which is good. The decrease in this pre-tax loss was mainly due to lower impairment made on the investment and assets. The impairment for investment is investment in subsidiaries, and for the asset is like the plant, property, and equipment of the company. And then the loss per share attributable to owners of the company, it become more worse than the previous year, which recorded 74.18 cents compared to 2019, 30.84 cents. But for the discontinued operation, there is an increasement, which is better 21.03 cents compared to 2019, 52.19 cents. And the group has negative total equity per share as at 31 December 2020 of 1.17 ringgit compared to the previous year, which is negative 0.09. So this is during the year, most of the figure is much worse. And during this year is where the PN regarding of the PN17 status. So on 11 February 2020, after triggering the prescribed criteria under the paragraph 2.1F of the PN17, the directors declared that the PCB to be insolvent and become a PN17 company. This declaration is due to the notice of demands received from the banks. Pursuant to the PN17 status, the group currently developing debt restructuring scheme and regularization plan within 24 months. So none of the core businesses recorded revenue growth due to a rising of COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. And last year, 2021, recorded both of higher revenue and profit before tax. So we can see higher revenue of 245.2 million compared to the previous year, 131.6 million, and the profit before tax stated 13.9 million compared to 2020, which is 92.1 million. So this is covering both continuing and discontinued operations. So the increment of both uh, segment is mainly contributed from the disposal of 4 pieces of vacant commercial land and 1 piece of vacant residential land for a total cash disposal consideration of 78.7 million. And then the recognition of PCB development and ATP have provided a positive impact on the overall financial positions. As at the end of the year 2021, the total shareholders' equity stood at 218.1 million, and in addition, the total loans and borrowing position has reduced from 548.3 million to 183.2 million in 2021. So, under the leadership of the board of director, PCB has been seeking ways to regularize the financial position of the company, including undertaking a debt restructuring scheme. So during the financial year, the company has achieved the following milestone and progressed toward its regularization plan. The first one is private debt settlement arrangement between PERAK Corporation with CIMB Bank Berhad and Afin Islami Bank Berhad. So PCB has entered into the following debt settlements. The first one, debt settlement agreement with CIMB for the proposed debt settlement of the debt owing by PERAK Corporation to CIMB amounting to 34.7 million, and the cut-off date as at 31 December 2021, and debt settlement agreement with Afin Islamic Bank for the proposed debt settlement of the debt owing by PERAK to them, which amounted to 58.8 million as at the cut-off date as at 31 March 2022. And the second one, this is when the proposed scheme of arrangement with scheme creditors. So on 19 April 2021, the court convened creditors meeting were held between PERAK Corporation and its wholly owned subsidiary. So PCB Development Syndrome Berhad with their new scheme creditors comprising of unsecured creditors other than the bank and financial institution have approved the proposed new scheme of arrangement PNSA, and then the High Court had approved and sanctioned the PNSA. And the last one, creditors, the action that companies do is creditors voluntary winding up of PCB development. So on 20 December 2021, announcement of PCB development undergoing a creditors voluntary winding up pursuant to section 441 of the Company Act 2016. So the assets of PCB development to be realized by the liquidators will be utilized to settle all the debt under the approved and sanctioned scheme of arrangement, including the syndicated term loan lenders. And then the recognition of PCB development and ATP have provided positive impact on the financial position where it improved the shareholders' equity. So next, that's all from me.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is MEOR bin IDRIS. Now I'm going to present, compare and analyze the impact of financial performance of the companies with financial ratios. Okay, so the first financial, we use the financial ratios to evaluate and analyze the company's performance throughout the 2019 to 2021. So the first financial ratio is liquidity ratio, and liquidity ratio liquidity ratio. Okay, so liquidity ratio they are divided into two, which is current ratio and quick ratio. So as we can see, the current ratio on 2018 is 0.47, which can be considered low or bad current ratio. A good current ratio is typically considered to be around or anywhere at 1.5 and 3. On 2019, 2019, the current ratio is slightly increased to 0.55. The current ratio are now down again at 2020 at 0.31. On 2021, this is the high increment on current ratio, which is 0.64. The reason for decreasing current ratio throughout 2018 to 2021 was because of the reduction in current assets and increasing in the current liabilities of PCB. Next, for the quick ratio. For the quick ratio in 2018, every RM1 ringgit in liabilities, the company has RM 0.1 RM13 in asset as liquid. Then it increased to 0.29 in 2019 and have a little bit improvement in their quick ratio. In 2020, the quick ratio decreased drastically to 0.09 and increased back in 2021 to 0.28. Overall, the company's liquidity was not in a good condition, and they must take actions to reduce their debts and liabilities. Next, okay. The second financial ratio is solvency ratio, and they have two solvency ratio, which is debt ratio and equity ratio. In 2018, the debt ratio is 0.85 and keep increasing in 2009, which is 1.01, and in 2020, 1.16. On 2021, the debt ratio has decreased to 0.6. On the other hand, the equity ratio in 2018 is 0.15, which can be considered good equity ratio. But in 2018 and 2020, the equity ratio become negative, which is negative 0.01 and negative 0.16, which can be considered bad or low equity ratio. Good equity ratio for a company or corporation is around 0.5 or 55% of the equity. It means that there is more outright of ownership in the company than that. For 2021, the equity ratio has increased back to 0.4, which is almost reached the good equity ratio, which is 0.5. Next. So the third financial ratios is for profitability ratios, and they're divided into two, which is return on asset and return on equity. So in 2018, for every RM1 ringgit in assets, the company made RM negative 0.18 in profit, which can be considered as low and bad return on equity. As we can see at the table, the ROA return on asset. There has been mistake. This is return on asset. As we can see at the table, the return on asset for PCB from 2018 until 2019 is negative, but the return on asset throughout the year is starting to increase, but still in negative value. This implies that the company is unable to generate returns with respect to its deployed capital. On the other hand, the company's return on equity in 2018 was also low and in negative value, which is negative 0.8. The ROE on 2019 also was negative and becoming more or less than previous year, which is negative 1.92 in 2020 and 2021. The ROE started to increase, but the value is still negative, which is negative 1.63 and negative 0.32 respectively. Next, the fourth financial ratio is efficiency ratio, and they also have two, which is asset turnover ratio and inventory turnover ratio. In 2018, for every RM1 ringgit in asset, the company is generating RM 0.12 as sales in 2018. It shows that the company asset turnover ratio is not good enough. In 2019 and 2020, the company's asset turnover ratio is decreasing, but have the same ratio, which is 0.01. The ratio in 2021 have slightly increment than previous year, which is 0.23, but also not good enough for the asset turnover ratio. from another perspective, for inventory turnover ratio, the inventory turnover ratio in 2018 is 0.58 and kept decreasing in 2019 and 2020, which is 0.48 and 0.47 respectively. This indicates that the company have low inventory turnover ratio. This can be caused by the weak sales or excessive inventory in the company itself. On the other hand, in 2021, the ratio is highly increased than previous year, which is 1.1, and this can indicate that the company have a little bit improvements in their inventory turnover ratio. Okay, so we come to the conclusion and recommendation to this PCB or PERAK Corporation Berhad. The first conclusion and recommendations, the study aims to try to employ company financial statements, among others, in determining what triggered its PN17 status. The second conclusion and recommendations, the conclusion that the company's excessive use of leverage inevitably made the company fall into financial distress. Third, PERAK Corporation Berhad (PCB) to be able to mark an upward shift or improvement for its shareholders. Fourth, the company must use cash generation strategies to improve their financial performance. And the last conclusion and recommendations, PCB should employ in this restructuring process PERAK can thus converts its period of loss into one of profitability and success while stabilizing its future. Okay, that's all from our group. Thank you.